Hi everyone, my name is Rachel, and welcome to my YouTube channel. This is where I make scrapbooking process videos and also do live scrap and chats every month. I hope you enjoy my little corner of the big crafty world, and if you'd like to watch more, please subscribe to my channel and click on the notification bell to always know when I have a new video. If you could also give me a thumbs up, that would be super awesome. Alright everyone, let's start scrapping! Hey everyone, and welcome to the October edition of For the Love of Crafting and Sharing, a monthly YouTube collaboration between a bunch of lovely YouTubers who you will see all of their videos in the description box below. So please make sure you head on over. We all do our own type of thing, so it's really cool to see how each of us take the monthly prompt. This month we are working with die cuts. I chose a cut file, which I will hopefully display what it's supposed to look like, that I purchased over on Etsy. Now I used, rather than solids, I chose different pattern papers to represent the different elements. So that's going to be super fun. I've also pulled in just bare minimum embellishments because I really want my cut file to take center stage. I'm doing this also for a challenge. I did an online crop, and the challenge from Victoria Marie Designs, if anyone is interested. She had an online crop that was kind of Halloween themed, and one of the prompts was to talk about your favorite Halloween song. I'm actually going to be doing what I call a companion page, where I'll have two pages that go side by side, and they're not necessarily the same story, but what I'll do is I'll use the same collection to talk about two different stories of a related subject. So I'm going to be talking about the song I Put a Spell on You from the movie Hocus Pocus, which happens to be my favorite Halloween movie. Unfortunately, I am someone who, it's not even that I don't like scary movies, it's that my visceral reaction to them is terror and lack of sleeping for several days. So I have to stick to the funny ones made for children if I ever want to sleep again. So as I said, I'm going to be doing a companion page talking about the song I Put a Spell on You, and then obviously the other side will be the movie Hocus Pocus, but they will tie in together, even though I'll be telling two separate stories about them, rather than doing one double page, which would then have the same story. And that's just how I scrapbook, and just want to explain my kind of, what's the word I'm looking for? Like my reasoning behind this. All right, folks, as I said at the beginning, don't forget to check out in the description box below the links to all the other YouTubers who will be joining in on this hop. Hopefully you enjoy, so let's get scrapping. All right, we're going to go ahead and get going. Now, I have this piece of black cardstock that is from Simple Stories. It's actually one of their new releases as part of their fall line. It's a black, but it's not super dark black. And I've been debating as to whether, so the Simple Stories line of cardstock has plain textured on one side, and then the other side has tone-on-tone dots. Now, when I've used the Simple Stories cardstock in the past, I've always used just the plain textured. In this case, I did decide to go with the tone-on-tone dots. As I said in my introduction, I'm going to be keeping the embellishments to a minimum. I'm not going to be using a ton of extraneous pattern paper other than what's in the cut file, so I thought adding the tone-on-tone dot would work really well. I went ahead and trimmed that down, and what I'm going to do is border my paper with this pattern paper that I used as part to cut out part of my cut file. Now, what I'm doing is I'm going to use this piece as a guide for where my letters go. And what I'm just checking is I want the hair I'm using to represent Winifred Sanderson. I want to make sure that's centered. That's I'm looking at the SCG on my iPad. And I'm just checking to make sure I have enough room where all three of the heads of hair fall on the black cardstock rather than the border piece. And then I'm just double checking to make sure I'm going to have enough room for my photos, and I do. And so what I'm going to do is, I said, use the pattern paper that I'm then going to remove and use as my border to make sure the words spell. And then also I'm going to use it for the placement of those star-like things. They're not really stars because they don't have 5 sides, but I guess they'd be more like sparkles, but whatever. So I'm just dry fitting it in, making sure it still fits, and it does. I don't know why I thought it wouldn't. I'm a little crazy. Who knows? So I'm using my Art Glitter Clear Glue and just dropping dots down the center. I was kind of afraid it would squish out and like maybe glue the other parts of the papers down, but for the most part it didn't do that at all. One of the reasons I really like the Art Glitter Clear Glue versus the Scotch Tacky Glue is I find it doesn't dry as quickly. Not that it takes long. It does not take long to dry. But it gives me just a little bit of time to fill in the spots that, like to do the whole letter or do, S was separate, the P was separate, and then the ELL were all together. And I was able to do the ELL, like lay the glue down and then lift it back up. Now, I was so proud of myself for not losing either of the super duper tiny little pieces that make up the portion of the broom. I thought for sure I was going to lose those. I didn't really care all that much, only in the sense that, you know, I had a feeling you'd still be able to tell it was a broom, but I was actually quite pleased that I managed to do that. So now I finally have all of my pieces in, and what I'm going to do is carefully peel this up, kind of holding the pieces that I glued down so I didn't accidentally rip them back up. And for the most part, as I said, I did not, accidentally glue the portion I didn't want to the background. There was only one little spot actually right by one of the really small pieces from the broom, and I was able to kind of just scrape that up with my nail with no lasting damage. So yay me. Yeah, so I just scraped that up and it worked perfectly fine. So what I'm going to do, and this is a trick I learned from another YouTuber, is if you're going to do this where you're bordering, just lay glue down on one side, and that way if you have a problem, you glue it down crooked, it's too much at the top or too much at the bottom or whatever, you can then only have to rip up one side rather than all 4. It's a genius tip, and I'm so happy that I watched a video that told me about it because it works fabulously. So I was so excited with how this ended up looking. I was really pleased that I managed to get it so it was straight across. Apparently, I don't know, I hit my camera at that point. So I'm really, really happy with the way it's looking. And now I'm going to go ahead and glue down the rest of the cut file, which includes this hat and then the 3 heads of hair representing Winifred, Sarah, and Mary Sanderson. I was really happy with the pattern papers I had where I could get them. Like I had the orange for Winifred and then the purple, which obviously Sarah Jessica Parker, who plays the character, is a blonde. But I always associate purple with blonde just because, if you guys don't know, when you color your hair blonde, quite often the color is purple. So it makes sense in my head. And a lot of times what I choose to put on my scrapbooking pages makes sense to me, even if it doesn't necessarily make actual legitimate sense to anyone else. So for the rest of my title, I had cut out the I put a on you with that purple and black bat paper, but I didn't actually think I was going to use it. I didn't think it would read well on the dark cardstock. I mean, I cut it out just to cut it out just in case, but I was pretty sure I was going to choose another alpha to, or choose an alpha to do that part of it. It also adds some dimension. These particular ones that I chose are called tuxedos and tiaras, and they are a white glitter, and then it also has a black glitter. And so I thought that would work well, adding another texture, adding some depth. So I was pleased to go ahead and use that. Now what I'm doing here is I'm trimming apart 2 of these strips. I'm going to be using that purple piece that has stars and moons on it, and then also this floral piece, and I'm just cutting a strip to put down at the bottom, and that's going to be the base layer of where my photos are going to start. So I do the bigger piece, that floral piece first. Excuse me. Apparently I've decided to have the hiccups because that's super fun when you're trying to do a voiceover. Then I'm going to layer the purple star and moon paper, and I'm going to trim a fishtail banner into one end. I was debating with myself whether to cut it out with scissors or pull out my trimmer again, basically because I'm really bad with scissors and cutting straight. I was happy. I wasn't sure if I was going to fit all 4 photos on the page, but I managed it, so yay. Even though I don't need all 4 photos. Sorry, one of my dogs is coming down the stairs because he hears me talking and he thinks I'm talking to someone in this room. I am not. He has lost interest. As I was saying, I didn't necessarily need all the four of these photos, but I loved all their facial expressions in all of them, and the performance of the 3 of the sisters together is one of the reasons I really like this song. And so now I have my photos down, and I had pulled out these wood veneer thinking they might work as just my one other embellishment to pull into this page. As I said, I've got that really large die cut, and that was going to I knew that was going to take up the majority of my page, but I think just adding this different texture helps just pull an extra layer into my scrapbook page. So now I'm going to do my journaling, and I pull out these Pretty Little Studio Document Life labels. I only have a couple of them left, and I think it started off with like 20 of them, but I really love them. So I was happy to have one with a black rim around it, and although I would have loved to put it down there, like right there where that broom is, it was too big, and I liked the shape of it and the black rim of it so much, I went ahead and was just like, you know what, we're just going to go ahead and use it and put it on top of the photo over on the right-hand side. So I'm just writing about how, I love this song as part of this movie. It's my favorite scene in the movie, and I think part of it is the absurdity of a 300-year-old dead witch, or she's been dead for 300 years, all of a sudden knows this song even though she only hears part of it. And I just love the absurdity of it, and I always enjoy Bette Midler, so there's, several reasons why I like this song. I'm going to be finished in just a minute, so before I do, I just want to say, make sure you head on into the description box below and check out all the other YouTubers who are part of this hop and see their take on cut files or die cuts, whatever they wind up using. So what I'm doing is I'm taking this orangey Nuvo drop. I don't usually use Nuvo drops on my layouts. I tend to use them on my cards. But all I'm doing is adding a little bit of shine to them on 3 of the star sparkly things. You can see them better in the end photos. Thank you guys so much for joining me here. I hope you're having an amazing day whenever you happen to be watching this. All right, everyone. Bye.